I don't know how well that turned out because my hand was really shaky, but welcome to Duzia, Vietnam. This is my accommodations for the night, and I've been out all over the valley exploring back roads on my motorcycle and taking drone shots and such. And it's only going on 1 p.m. I find that the days are long when I travel because you've got to fill up 24 hours, and I've been all over. And for the most part, where I go is very rural. So seeing the land and seeing the beauty is the main event. Um, and that's what I prefer. I prefer where there's no tourists, no people. And this time of day is the best because the people that are moving on have checked out, the people that are coming in haven't gotten here yet. I'm basically alone with about 5 different homestays and cabins all around me. That's awesome. I have the whole valley to myself. And it's a long valley that it goes for probably 2 valleys further. I rode down last night, very challenging road. It was about a 3 hour trip on the bike, and it was roads that are like logging roads, massive potholes all over the place, gravel, nonstop, and it's their main road to get from the bottom of the province to the top of the province. Unless you want to go around on the highway on the outside and risk coming across traffic police checkpoints. And I can do that, but I just don't feel like doing it. I prefer to ride in the no man's land. So I came down last night and got here, got checked in, and was like out like a light. But, you know, what I find that is funny, I'm talking to you from Vietnam, but I'm talking about Twin Flames because no matter where you go in the world, it's not running. I'm not running from anything. I've been traveling probably 35 years, but it's when I do go away, it's I'm not doing it to run. I go to expand. When I come to a place like this, it challenges me. I need big challenges because at home it gets repetitious. I find that the challenges are, I'll go to the grocery store and somebody is a big dickhead, and I got to deal with whatever comes up from that. That's my biggest challenge there. Here, it's challenges from the get go, from the minute you open your eyes, because if you want something, you go to the person who's running the place that you're staying at, and you have to speak through a translator usually, and you're not even sure that it translated properly because they're reading it and they got this question mark on their face, and you're thinking, it was a really simple thing that I said. I don't think it translated right. So they say something back in their translation. And it was like, no, 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 that wasn't anything like what I was asking. So you're back and forth. And sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's clear. But it can be challenging depending on what built up to that. If you've been riding and you're frustrated or tired and it's really hot, it's kind of overcast today, so it keeps the heat down a bit. But the humidity is really high. And I find the humidity sucks the life out of me. So I try not to stop for too long anywhere because it can be an instant mood changer. So back to the twin flame stuff. No matter where you go, this is it's amazing how much it's still a part of your everyday. I can be as busy as hell for a whole day here, doing things, going here, going there, navigating my way on Google Maps or Maps Me, and finding my way, trying to navigate to find something to eat, something to drink, or a gas station because I'm pretty rural in a lot of these places. I have to drive way out of my way to get to a gas station and then back again. But as busy as I am, at some point during the day, something brings up my head. Pretty butterfly. I found a caterpillar in my room this morning. I don't know how it got in because I haven't had the door open in a couple of days. Anyway, it was about that long, black, fuzzy, but I know what it was from. They have a beautiful butterfly here. It's about the size of my palm. It's a big black thing that when it flies, it has flashes underneath its wings of beautiful bronze. And you'll see it go by, and it looks like a chocolate you could pop into your mouth. And they're huge. When I'm riding, they bounce off of me. Anyway, that was a thrill for me finding that caterpillar. I took it outside on a piece of paper, and the people manning the homestay were over at a table underneath the hut, and they were watching me trying to figure out what is she doing. I had it on a piece of paper, and I go over to a bunch of the plants outside my place, and I'm shooing it onto a leaf so that it can carry on and become one of those butterflies. And they probably thought, she's a whack job. I don't care. Anyway, yeah, I've been doing a lot of thinking since I got here. I've been here about 12 days, and it really throws you into a place of facing your own mind. Not because I'm alone with my mind all the time, because I am for a long time. I mean, every day that I'm riding, it's 3 or 4 hours. So I have a lot of thoughts going around, but I've got the scenery going by, so that's a real distraction, and concentrating on getting to the next place and stuff. So I think a lot about that, but at some point, my twin always pops up in my head, and I haven't had mm, struggling feelings towards him in about a year. I see, what are we in? We're in the beginning of 2026. Yeah, I last saw him about 2.5 years ago, and I have processed so much. But at that point, 2.5 years ago, that was when I sucked my energy back to me. And then you think the way that, no, it's a dragonfly dogging me. Um, the way that you find things online, it looks like as soon as you pull your energy back, then it creates changes in him, and then he'll come back. And there's a lot more to that package of pulling your energy back. It's sucked back into me, yes, but you have to integrate that energy in a different way, because you have now, by pulling that energy back into you, that's your masculine, inner masculine energy rising up and setting a boundary. I, what led to me pulling that energy back into me was him doing something that I said, that's unacceptable inside me. Nope, nope, I draw the line there. It came back into me. Now, I spent the next year feeling really good because it was back in me, but that's not the end, not by a long shot. You integrate that back in, and like I said, by pulling it back in, that was your masculine energy rising. You had healed enough of feminine that I ran into him and I asked for a moment of his time, and he was disrespectful. And my masculine rose up and said, hold on there, buddy. That's unacceptable. The way you just spoke to me and was. And I drew a line and walked away. So I thought that, because it all happened in like a billionth of a second, as it always does, when my feminine energy came swooping back into me, I thought that was the only thing that happened. It wasn't till over the next year that I was seeing the results of that I realized the ability to be able to pull your energy back in was because your masculine energy had healed enough. The feminine had healed enough for the masculine to be revealed in you, because it had been buried under some dysfunctions. Now, when the masculine energy rose in me, it put it in to what he was doing right then. It was like, nope. I talked about this in another video about when you reach clarity. Well, it took me about a year of that sitting me when things rise in you. And the masculine energy over that next year, primarily, I found I set some real hard boundaries with a lot of things. I had been setting boundaries all along. I mean, I walked away from a whole family unit 6 months before I met Twin, and that's was the build up to meeting the Twin. But there was so many boundaries I set, and I've gone on to do it because as you set boundaries, it lays a foundation that you cannot go back on. You can't go down in it, you can't go backwards in it. It's now set. And so going forward, anything that you had been tolerating in there, I'm not vocal to people about things that I'm setting boundaries on anymore. I just discontinue them, discontinue the behavior with them, tolerance with them. I discontinue associating with them, and I give no explanation, none. It's like I don't owe you any explanation. I don't see you hammering on my door to give me explanations to your shitty behavior for the last long while. So I've been setting boundaries, and it's what it's doing is it's not about the external people, but you're setting boundaries. The masculine is now grounding itself inside you to match the feminine that you had healed enough for the masculine to be revealed. And when the masculine starts getting present, your life changes. But it's already done so much changing before that that it doesn't, you don't, it's not shocking anymore. I find that when I do something, like in another video, the one about why it's shocking when a twin flame reaches clarity, this was one of the last big ones. I had a friend for 26 years. She was the closest person to me, and I really love her. But all the way through it, there was a piece. If this was the whole relationship, there was a piece missing. And that has been present in every relationship I've had. There's been a piece missing that I couldn't put a finger on what is missing. But you know it inside you. You know it in the background of something. You know something's missing. Can't put a finger on it. Well, my finger put a finger on it really fast now. And I just don't even let it enter now. I don't entertain it unless I'm really bored that day and don't have anything going on, then I'll entertain it. But I'm sure not dependent on it. Anyway, you're, I thought at the time that when I met my twin and within a week and a half we separated because it was implosions. I thought that was, your life does fall apart at that point. I don't know what his did because we haven't been able to talk. I know that mine took major changes. Well, it goes in levels, stages. It did major changes, and then when I pulled my energy back into me and my masculine started rising and saying, no, 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 to you, and you, and you, and you, and you, it took changes again, but it wasn't shocking because my masculine energy was right here, and right here, and right behind me saying, we got you. Go ahead. If that doesn't feel right to you, do it. It didn't bother me anymore. I didn't second guess anything. I walked away from that 26-year friendship like that when she did one thing that she had been doing throughout it, and that was that missing piece that I needed. I couldn't see it to identify it and name it during that time. Once it happened once again, and I drew the boundary that said, this will never happen again. Never, never. And I said goodbye to her in my mind, sort of. I don't think I even did that. I didn't even waste time. Emotionlessly, I let her go. I don't know if it confused her, because I don't think that she was invested in the relationship. Some people are, when you're still blind and stuff, it was a filler and a convenience, but the depth wasn't there. And I'm a Scorpio. I have to have people who have depth. Even I can do idle conversations running into somebody at the grocery store or something, but to have someone be close to me, they've got to have depth and be capable of depth. And it was always surface with her, and that was good. That was just like those idle conversations at the gas or the grocery store. But I stopped. She lost her category of being in my inner circle that day forever. And many other people have. I have neighbors that I struggled with for a while when I first moved in because I was going through things. I moved in shortly before meeting my twin to this neighborhood in an isolated area in Canada, and I didn't know where my footing was. I was going through changes, and when you first meet somebody, you don't know their history, you don't know their track record. You're feeling your way with them, and they slowly revealed things, and I've now got it down to where, well, let's put it this way: I don't need them either. They live across the street. If I run into them and they serve a purpose, fine. I am so totally okay with being just me, no matter if it's in my house, out on my deck at home, in Vietnam, in Nebraska, whatever. I'm so okay with being just me wherever I am. It's, I don't lack in any way except for here. I mean, I'm having a problem making videos because I'm wearing a helmet for like 3 or 4 hours a day and in the humidity, and you look like crap. You look like you've been dragged behind the motorcycle. So that part I'm having, and their water here is hard water, makes my hair go. It's just frizzy as all hell. So wearing the helmet keeps it in check, actually. But anyway, um, when you reach that stage of feeling you're in a masculine gotcha, that you're sure, you're confident, you don't need anybody's validation, you don't need to care, and you don't care. You don't put any thought into it, what people think of what you do. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy doing this kind of travel at this level. I don't care. It's easy for me. It doesn't challenge me. It challenges me because of the heat and stuff and some moments, but why they get confused is because they fear this. They have a deep, they look at me and they, are you afraid going out over it? Are you afraid going just the trip there and the trip back? And how do you get around? How do you do this? How do you do that? It's like, it's no different than your own home. If you can take the bus downtown, run some errands, and come back, you can travel the world. It's the same. It's exactly the same. It's just bigger, has more details. Don't go to the end result first. Start small. Start traveling close to home and do things. I didn't ride a motorcycle in the first places I traveled to. I took buses. I would take a bus, spend a week there, and then take a bus to another location. And then a couple of trips down the road, I realized that I could take a bus to that area, and because I was starting to travel in Asia, I could rent a little motorcycle and ride it around in that area, then give it back after those few days, and then take the bus to another place. And then in the last about 5 years ago, when I came to Vietnam, I discovered I could rent a motorcycle here and ride all over the country and then return the bike. So I didn't start big, but start small. And that doesn't just go for traveling, that goes for anything in your life. The fears that hold you back, when you're being held back by fear, do something small so that you're not conquering that fear in its entirety all at once, because that's new to you. If it's a fear, it's an area that you're not sure of. Do something small and then stand back and go, well, the sun still came up the next day and the world is still spinning. What was I so afraid of? I had a really interesting talk with a young girl up at the top of this province about 3 days ago. I was leaving a homestay and she took my money, and she was the only one around, and she was a member of their family, about 21 I think, and she lives down in the country, and she comes up every couple of weeks and does a couple of days of volunteer with the family to run the place. And she was fascinated with me because wherever I go here, they're just like, their eyes are popping out of their head. You're a woman and you're riding a motorcycle through our country. And, oh my God. And I think nothing of it. So, anyway, she started up a conversation that said as such. And I started asking her about her world, and her world was fascinating. She's an introvert. I pegged that right away. She likes jogging in nature and being by herself, and she really likes to pass on the positive things. I let her talk for a long time while I read her, and then I reflected back to her the word introvert and that. And she had heard of it, but she didn't think she was because she didn't know about it. She says, "But I can go out and be with a lot of people." And I said, "So can an introvert, but only for a short amount of time. Then they have to have their life back." Anyway, we talked for a long time, and it was all about perspectives because she was giving me her perspective on me, how she just admired that when I'm your age, I hope I can be doing this, and I can go to this place and I can go to that place. And I said, well, going to those places isn't all it's cracked up to be, because once you get there, you're there. And then you got to fill up your hours and the days, every days. And I told her the backstories of traveling, and I said, but let me give you a perspective of your country. And she was blown away because I said, as I move through your country, I see the simplicity of it. It's not poverty, but it's not developed. And the simplicity is beauty because you'll be riding along and there's a kid of 7 years old and a 5 year old holding hands going down the road, and there's not a house in sight. There isn't the fears of harm. It's openness. Their hearts are open. I mean, they suffered horribly with a war decades ago, and they recoup. And they're just pure. It's just accepting. When I arrive, I wave at everybody as I'm going past, and they all wave back. Half the time they're waving before I can, and the kids are crazily waving. So when I was telling her that, you can find little kids dancing in a field and having fun doing things. When I was a child, a long, long time ago, we used to go out into the field and we'd all have a stick and a rock and we'd play baseball. And we had a blast. Or we lived way out in the country. We'd walk for 2 miles across our land and into the other people's properties. And that's what these kids have here. They have the children and the parents, they have a simple life. They have a simple little homestay where people come, they make enough. That's what they're doing. They want to make enough of a life that they get by. They're not striving for more, more, more like the Western world and Europe and stuff. I get what I sought, and then I want more, I want more, I want more. There's no ego in this country. And that's what's kept me coming back. There's no ego. When I look around, everyone is so willing. I mean, it's a struggle on the translator sometimes getting across, but they keep trying. They want to find out what it is I want to ask them about, and they want to provide the solution for it. And to me, as I'm passing through here, when I was telling that girl, I said, you have wealth here. You don't even realize you have. You have the most beautiful country, and you spend like, here's the day here. This whole valley you can hear is silent. There isn't industry going on. They'll probably come here at some point, but it'll be a long time because they've got electricity up here now, but the roads are really bad. So until they get the roads, tourists won't come here. It's motorcyclists that come here. But I mean, the just the wealth that they have. There's two ladies down there. I'd show you, but then it would wreck the camera fixture. They're down underneath an open area. They've got 3 cabins at that property, and they've got a great big bucket with water, and they're washing the towels and things for the rooms. When you get your laundry done in this area, they hand wash it and they hang it to dry. There's no washers, dryers, and things like that. What prompted me to come out and make this video was because twice a day. In the middle of the day and in the evening, they have a blackout. They'll shut the power down to the whole valley for an hour to conserve, because they don't need the power running right now. All the locals know when the power is going to go out, so they get their doodads done. And then they do the doodads after it goes back on, and then they work up until nighttime, and then in the evening, you know to get the temperatures down so that you can do without the air conditioning for an hour. The guy next door to me was having a hissy fit last night because he couldn't have the air conditioning. It's like, step outside. It's not enough to get freaked out about. Anyway, they've got the power failure. That I was working on something on the computer and the power went out, and I thought, oh, going outside now. And it's so quiet out here. There's a hose or a pipe over there running water down into a stream that waters. This is a rice field that you'll see in the video at the beginning. I'll try and show it again at the end. Anyway, it's 3 terraces that these 3 homestays, or 4 up there. They're done in levels, tiers, and the 4 homestays grow their rice. They share the profit. Everything's done together here. You know, it's not, everybody's separate, and there's no competition, none, except for space on the road sometimes. But it's just a beautiful atmosphere to sit in. It's not only quiet, like I can hear kids playing all around here. I can hear kids' voices all the time during the day, because I quite often stick close to my homestay because I've gone out and explored enough. Most people are staying one night and they're moving on to another place, and I do that a lot. But when I do stay, I get the privilege of hearing it during the day. And it's appreciating the wealth that you've got in your life instead of having that greed of, gotta have more, gotta have more. I stopped that, I don't know, probably 5 years ago. I've got it all. I used to be an avid thrift store shopper, and I can't go out and find anything even for $2 because I've already had it, or I've got it, or I don't want it. What's the time on this? I can't even see it in the light. Anyway, there's so many points to this video. I'm just rambling. There is no, I don't know what I'll title this as. But anyway, just the perspectives you have of pulling it back when, well, let's say for the twin flame thing, when we're striving to want to have that twinship back, that's the energy talking. It's not the person. It's the energy you shared and that you're balancing. Once you come into full balance, they pop into your head like he's with me on this trip, but he's there as a presence only. It's not a pull. And I'm not concerned about him, and I'm not trying to figure something out. It's just, hey, hi, oh, I haven't thought about you for hours. You know, it's one of those things. It's comfortable, and it's peaceful. So there's the twin flame part of this video. Excuse all the rest of the stuff. I haven't had a chance to talk to many people on this trip. Anyway, okay, well, I'm assuming the power's still out. I can't tell because I'm outside. So I'm just gonna, I've got a ginger tea that they made me. I'm gonna sit here in the quiet and stop making noise so that everybody else doesn't have to listen to me. So take what you want from this. It was just me doing things in Vietnam. Now I'll undo, don't mind the shaking of the camera for a second. I gotta undo this to show you again the rice fields. Top tier, second tier, third tier, fourth tier. Then they have cabbages and corn and something else growing there, and then you head down and those are the lower, those end homestays. They own those rice fields, and they all work together on this. When the time comes, they're all out in the field. Men, women, kids, they all work together. And then they share the profit. Okay, gonna have my ginger tea. Sorry about the shaky camera. Have a good day. I am. Talk talk to you later. Bye.